Welcome to Security Sunday. This is the deep dive brought to you by Sysnet Shield, the experts in ethical hacking, penetration testing, and red teaming.
Great to be here.
You're tuning in, and like us, you're probably wading through just a constant flood of security news every week.
Oh, absolutely. It never stops.
Yeah, so today our mission really is to focus. We want to zero in on a specific set of events, something we're kind of calling Operation RoudPress. We're here to try and connect some dots for you, pull out the stuff that really matters from this seemingly chaotic landscape.
Yeah, think of it like your tailored briefing. We've got the reports, the advisories, the news,
Right.
everything from, state-sponsored stuff hitting Ukraine to critical bugs found in software lots of people use.
It can feel like a lot scattered all over the place.
Exactly. But we're aiming for clarity, showing how these threats are linked, how they shape the environment you're operating in. It's about seeing that bigger picture.
Okay, let's dive straight in then. Operation RoudPress. Now, this isn't some official code name you'll find elsewhere.
Right, it's our label for it.
Yeah, it's our way of grouping these recent incidents that really highlight what's going on with cyber conflict and these vulnerabilities that are just constantly being poked at.
And the first big piece here involves APT28. The Russia-linked group, you probably know them as Fancy Bear, maybe Pawn Storm.
Familiar names, yeah.
So our sources, CERT-UA in Ukraine, recorded future, they detail this campaign targeting Ukrainian organizations, and the key, exploiting weaknesses in RoundCube email servers.
RoundCube, okay.
What's kind of wild and frankly a bit worrying is this looks like it's been happening since at least November 2021.
Wow, that long.
Correct.
That's persistent.
It suggests a really sustained, focused effort, not just random scams.
Yeah, definitely not opportunistic. And the sources say they were using targeted spear phishing emails.
That's right. And the bait was news about the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Very relevant, very clickable bait.
So people open what looks like a legit update.
And bam, they triggered these known RoundCube vulnerabilities. We're talking CVE 2020-35730, CVE 2020-128-641, and CVE 2021-44026.
It's a real reminder, isn't it? How easily familiar things like email can be turned into weapons.
Absolutely. And the techniques, they weren't basic. One key tactic was deploying this JavaScript file. They called it EJS.
Yeah.
And what it did was create a default filter right inside the victim's RoundCube settings. Pretty sneaky.
A filter, what did that do?
It silently redirected all their incoming emails to an address the attackers controlled.
Whoa.
Think about that. It's like ongoing surveillance,
Data
theft, all happening without the user having a clue. It's manipulating standard email features against them.
It really is like having someone secretly rerouting your mail. And they weren't just grabbing unimportant stuff, I assume.
No, sources show they were pulling address book data, session cookies.
Session cookies. So they could potentially log in as the user?
Potentially, yeah. Impersonation is a risk there. And the full content of emails, too. All sent out using standard HTTP POST requests. Plus, there was another script, CJS, which had a specific exploit for one of those CVEs, the CVE 2020-126-401. So very targeted tools.
So how widespread was this specific RoundCube campaign?
Well, CERT-UA reported over 40 Ukrainian organizations hit. That includes government entities.
40, okay.
And Recorded Futures Insight Group. They analyzed this and believed the main goal for this part of Operation RoundPress was likely military intelligence gathering.
To support the invasion.
That's the assessment. Directly supporting Russia's invasion of Ukraine. It just shows how deeply cyber ops are now woven into, actual physical conflict.
Certainly does. And it sounds like this isn't just a one-off tactic for APT28. You mentioned overlap.
Yeah, interesting point in the sources. They were also recently seen exploiting that Microsoft Outlook 0-day, CVE 2023-2397.
I remember that one.
But that campaign targeted European orgs. So it suggests, a broader strategy. They're actively looking for weaknesses across different platforms to meet their goals.
Okay, so that's the APT28 RoundCube piece. But Operation RoundPress, as we're calling it, has more elements, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned other critical vulnerabilities.
Right. Shifting gears slightly, but staying on that theme of critical vulns being actively exploited. Let's talk CVE 2025-32756.
Okay.
This one's a big deal. It's a stack-based buffer overflow, and it affects a whole bunch of Fortinet products. FortiVoice, FortiRecorder, FortiNDR, FortiMail, FortiCamera.
Wow, quite a list. And you said critical.
Extremely. The CVSS score is hovering around 9.6 or 9.8, depending on which source you look at. That's critical territory, a very serious flaw.
Nearly a 10. That definitely sets off alarm bells.
Yeah.
And the impact. What can attackers do?
Remote code execution, unauthenticated.
Unauthenticated RCE. Okay, break that down.
It means someone, potentially anywhere, could gain control of these Fortinet devices. No username, no password needed.
Walk right in, basically.
If the device is vulnerable, yeah.
The issue, CWE 121, is in how they handle certain HTTP hash cookies. Something gets mishandled, overflows a buffer, and gives the attacker control.
And is this theoretical, or?
No, that's the kicker.
Ooh.
Fortinet confirmed it's being actively exploited in the wild.
Oh boy. Reports specifically mention attacks hitting FortiVoice systems. And once they're in, attackers are deploying malware, setting up cron jobs to steal credentials later, even scanning the internal network from that compromised device.
So it's not just getting in, it's immediately trying to expand and persist.
Exactly. They're not just sitting there. This is active exploitation leading to deeper compromise.
Makes sense then that CISA added it to their KEV list pretty fast.
Absolutely. The known exploited vulnerabilities list. That's a huge red flag for any organization using these products. Means patch now.
And Fortinet has patches available.
Yes, they've released them and are strongly urging immediate updates. But they also provided some interim steps if you can't patch right away.
Like what?
Things like disabling the HTTPS admin interfaces if possible. That reduces the attack surface. Checking logs carefully for weird signs like Friggy debugging being turned on when it shouldn't be. And of course, the usual good practices, network segmentation using web application firewalls, layers of defense. These temporary fixes can buy you time and reduce risk.
Okay, so state-sponsored attacks, critical device vulnerabilities. What else fits into this Operation RoundPress picture?
Supply chain attacks. That's another big theme we're seeing highlighted in the sources.
Always a concern. What's the example here?
A malicious NPM package. It was called US Info Checker S6.
Sounds innocent enough, like a utility package.
Exactly, something a developer might just pull in, but under the hood. Pretty ingenious and kind of unsettling.
How so?
It used Unicode steganography.
Steganography. Hiding data in plain sight.
Basically, yeah. Hiding malicious code within invisible characters in the text. Very hard to spot just by looking.
Okay, clever.
And it used Google Calendar as a sort of middleman for its command and control communications. C2 traffic.
Wait, Google Calendar? How does that work?
It's a way to blend in malicious traffic going to Google Calendar looks, well, normal. It's a trusted service.
So how did the attack unfold?
Initially, the package might have actually done what it claimed, checked OS info, appeared benign, but then, using that hidden Unicode stuff, it would retrieve and run a payload. And the URL for that payload was hidden, base64 encoded, inside a Google Calendar event description.
Wow, that's elaborate. Using a legit platform to avoid detection.
Precisely. Google Calendar is rarely blocked, widely trusted, so it helps bypass security controls. And what's more, this package was listed as a dependency for 4 other potentially malicious packages.
Spreading the risk.
Yeah, trying to widen the distribution through the software supply chain. And the sources noted that even after being reported to NPM, it was still available at the time, shows the challenge of cleaning up these repositories.
It really does. Okay, one more piece, I think. Patch Tuesday.
Yeah. Can't ignore Microsoft's May 2025 Patch Tuesday. It was pretty significant, 71 CVEs addressed in total.
71. Any standouts?
Several 0 days in Windows that Microsoft confirmed were being actively exploited before the patch.
Actively exploited 0 days.
Yeah.
Never good.
Nope. We had CVE 2025-32701, CVE 2025-32701, and a Windows ancillary function driver for WinSock.
And what kind of vulns were these?
All elevation of privilege, or EOP. Meaning an attacker who already has some access could use these to get higher privileges, like admin rights.
Which makes lateral movement and deeper compromise much easier.
Exactly. The fact they were exploited in the wild just hammers home how critical timely patching is, for vendors and for users.
Any other key takeaways from that Patch Tuesday?
Microsoft also showed maybe some increased transparency. They disclosed and confirmed patches for critical vulnerabilities within their cloud services too, even stuff where customers didn't need to do anything directly.
That's interesting. More openness about cloud CVEs.
Yeah, it's generally seen as a positive trend for the industry. Better visibility.
Okay, so we've covered APT28 and Roundcube, the critical Fortinet flaw, that sneaky NPM package, and Patch Tuesday 0 days. Let's try and wrap this all up. What does Operation RoundPress, this collection of events, really tell you?
Well, it paints a pretty clear picture, doesn't it? You've got these persistent state-backed attacks hitting critical infrastructure.
Like the Ukraine targets.
Right. Then you have the constant drumbeat of discovering and quickly exploiting major vulnerabilities in software everyone uses.
The Fortinet and Roundcube examples there.
Exactly. And layered on top, increasingly sophisticated, really evasive techniques in supply chain attacks, like that NPM package using Unicode and Google Calendar.
The interconnectedness you mentioned earlier really stands out.
It really does. Different actors, different vulns, different methods. But it all points to an environment where you just have to be vigilant. Timely patching isn't optional. A layered defense-in-depth approach is essential.
And the fact that active exploitation is happening across the board.
That just underlines the need for proactive defense. It's exactly the kind of work the experts at Sysnet Shield do every day, helping clients stay ahead of these threats.
So this deep dive hopefully gives you, our listener, a more detailed view than just the headlines.
Yeah, understanding not just what happened, but the how and the potential why.
And thinking about what it means for your own security posture.
Absolutely. Consider this, right? If these well-funded state groups are using known email server flaws for intelligence, what are maybe less sophisticated groups doing with those public critical flaws in network gear, like the Fortinet ones?
That's a worrying thought.
And if attackers are successfully using Google Calendar for C2, I mean, where else might they be hiding? What other normal services could be abused? It forces you to think differently about detection.
So we really want to encourage you to take these insights and look at your own setup. Are your systems patched? Are they really patched and up to date?
Are you monitoring for weird activity? Do you actually know what software dependencies you're relying on and the risks they might bring?
Because this isn't just about big government targets or huge companies anymore. These vulnerabilities, these techniques, they can absolutely impact organizations of all sizes, even individuals.
Definitely. Stay informed, stay vigilant.
Well, thank you for joining us for this Security Sunday Deep Dive, brought to you by Sysnet Shield.
We hope this gave you some valuable context on the complex world of cybersecurity today.
We'll keep unpacking these critical issues for you. Thanks for listening.